already know that milk is a staple in the American diet, but did you know that it's also a staple of the American economy? Well, the dairy industry is the largest segment of the largest industrial sector in America, which is agriculture. And last year, the dairy industry added just about $52 billion to the nation's economy. Now, when you think about the economics of the dairy industry, you can take the close view or the wide view. Here's a close view question. Can we understand what costs go into producing a single gallon of milk? Because if we can understand that, we'll understand why we pay the price we do for that gallon in the supermarket. First of all, dairy farmers have costs, like paying the bank for the mortgage on their farm and financing their equipment. There's also insurance and taxes, repairs and upkeep, healthcare for their cows, and seeds for their crops.
How you doing? I'm fine, thanks.
And then their biggest expenses, paying their workers and feeding their cows. On average, farmers have to pay all those bills with only about 19% of what we pay for that gallon of milk. Now let's look at the other costs. There's the transportation cost to the processing plant, the cost of the processing itself, then storage and further transportation to the supermarket. And finally, the cost and profit of running that market. All these add up to the price you pay. And think about it. Whenever the costs of any of those individual parts change, whether it's the price of gasoline or labor or even marketing, the price of the gallon of milk changes too. Now here's a long view question. What role do dairy farmers play in the overall economy of their communities? As you've heard, farmers take the money they get for their milk and pay for all their expenses. But now think about how that money fuels the local economy by bringing income into local businesses.
Hey Ted, how you doing?
As well as good jobs to people in the community. It's just like gas in a car. It doesn't do much good when the car is turned off. It does its job when the car is running. Well, in economics, something like that idea is called the multiplier effect. Money does an economy good when it changes hands.
Hi, how are you? Very good, how are you?
And each time it does, it helps the person into whose hands it goes. Whether it's someone getting a paycheck or a loan from the bank, and the money farmers bring into their communities typically changes hands 2.5 times, which builds more income for the community. And because each cow on a dairy farm generates about $14,000 in economic revenue, the average dairy farm with about 75 cows brings more than $1 million to its community each year. Not bad. Also, for every 9 cows on a farm, a job gets created somewhere in the food industry. And that means 45,000 jobs just in Pennsylvania alone. Not bad at all. And here's a final thought in terms of economics. What farmers do is to take natural resources, like the land and its crops, the water and the sun, and transform them into capital resources, meaning money in all its many forms, that the entire community can use. And that's good for all of us.